So when you're talking about complex video game characters, all of the love tends to go towards the protagonist. However, a good story rarely only includes one character, and just like Robin to your Batman, NPCs, short for non-player characters, rarely get the love that they deserve. So let's take a look at them today, as I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 most complex NPCs in video games. Number 10. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Cicero. Found alongside his broken-down cart just north of Whiterun, Cicero is dressed as a jester, transporting the remains of his mother. Upon first meeting, all seems relatively normal, if maybe a little eccentric, as Cicero asks you to speak to a nearby farmer to help get his cart back up and running so that he can bury his mother in a new crypt. If the player chooses to steer clear of the Dark Brotherhood, this will be the extent of your interacting with old Cicero here, and it will be little more than just a weird encounter. However, if you join the Dark Brotherhood or choose to take them down, you will gain access to the Sanctuary and with that, Cicero's journals. Chronicled within is the story of another sanctuary and the death of its head listener. It becomes apparent upon reading that Cicero has well and truly gone mad following his final kill, from whom the assassin adopted various personality traits from, as well as his appearance. The eccentric killer appointed himself the Keeper of the Night Mother and decided to transport her to SKYRIM, which explains the encounter with him near Whiterun. It's deliciously mad in all the right ways. Number 9. Persona 5 Sojiro Sakura. Initially cold and somewhat authoritarian, this ladies' man eventually becomes one of the most intriguing characters in all of Persona 5. Following the arrival of your player character in Tokyo after a mysterious event gets you in trouble back in your hometown, Sakura takes you in to live in the loft above his coffee shop. At first, the smooth-talking character comes across as somewhat of a bit of a jerk, as he keeps treating you with caution due to your previous troubles. However, as the story unfolds and he begins to place more and more trust in you, his paternal qualities emerge, and he becomes a genuine guardian to the merry band of phantom thieves that hang out in his coffee shop. He also has some demons of his own, as he blames himself for the death of his one true love and mother to his adoptive daughter. He seeks your help in persuading his daughter to leave the house, during which you learn more about him as well as the truth behind his love's death. This leads to some genuine character development that results in him becoming one of the most complex and memorable characters in all of Persona 5, and trust me, that's an already stacked roster. Number 8. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater The Boss. Initially set up as the main antagonist to Naked Snake, the boss turns out to be so much more complex than the defector that she's first painted out to be. Snake's former mentor and mother figure turned her back on the US to instead serve the Soviet Union alongside her band of merry misfits, the Cobra Unit, and human lightning rod Colonel Volgin. Following the final battle where she's defeated by Snake, it's revealed that her mission was actually to infiltrate the Soviet Union in order to obtain the Philosopher's Legacy from the Colonel. It was a surprise that most didn't see coming at the time, and painted the boss as a character willing to sacrifice herself to avoid conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union. With a number of complex characters in the Metal Gear series, it's tough to stand out from the crowd. However, the boss is a complex character without requiring any over-the-top gimmicks to make her interesting. She was a strong female leader that was willing to be labeled a defector to her country in order to save it from war. And if that's not true patriotism, then I don't know what is. Number 7. BioShock Infinite Elizabeth. Imprisoned in the floating city of Columbia, Elizabeth looks to be the classic damsel in distress before you then realize that she in fact possesses a great deal of power. The so-called Lamb of Columbia has the ability to create holes in space and time and even travel through them, which ultimately resulted in her presence in the floating city of Columbia. Once rescued from her prison on Monument Island, Elizabeth will accompany you on your adventures throughout Columbia, often gazing in childlike wonder at parts of the world that she's been excluded from all of these years. The way that she comments on the game's world often provides another layer of context that's usually in stark contrast to that of protagonist Booker DeWitt. In the Burial at Sea DLC for BioShock Infinite, her abilities and story are explored further, giving an even deeper insight into her character and her relationship with Booker. Elizabeth is also pretty handy in a battle as well, as she'll use her powers to tear holes in reality, often giving the player some additional options in combat. She'll even throw you ammo, health, and salts, which are used to power your vigor abilities if she senses that you're running low. Number 6. Red Dead Redemption 2 Dutch Van der Linde. Starting out as a Robin Hood-esque outlaw with morals, Dutch begins to descend into a remorseless, narcissistic criminal throughout the course of Rockstar's Wild West epic. Corrupted by fellow antagonist Micah Bell, Dutch's descent into full-blown bad guy takes place right in front of the player and lead protagonist Arthur Morgan's eyes. A one-time mentor to Arthur, as well as first-game protagonist John Marston, the outlaw head honcho begins to unravel as his plans to leave the life behind him are dashed at every turn. As plans go wrong and his merry band of outlaws begins to lose faith, Dutch continues to turn to more drastic and nefarious means to regain control of the group. As Dutch's actions grow more erratic throughout the story, it culminates perfectly when some of the group find themselves stranded on an island and we see his dark side reach new levels when he kills an old lady in cold blood. It's at this point that the player, as well as Arthur, realizes that there's no going back now for Dutch and he must be stopped. Here, Rockstar truly delivered in showing the downfall of the once beloved Dutch. Number 5. Fallout 4 Nick Valentine. A film noir detective in a post-apocalyptic Boston, Nick Valentine should pique your interest even before it's revealed that he's in actual fact a unique prototype synthetic human created by the Institute that managed to escape. Following his escape from the Institute, the robotic synth took up the persona of Nick Valentine and set himself up as a private detective operating out of Diamond City. Perhaps the most human character in the entire game despite being a synth, Nick often imparts insightful comments on the player's situations and actions, even displaying emotional responses to moments throughout the course of your adventures. Nick often feels less like a companion just following you around and much more like a partner that will help in your investigations to find your lost son. It's great then that Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC features everyone's favorite trench coat and trilby hat wearing robot detective in good measure, as you assist Nick in one of his missing person cases. With a much darker tone than the main campaign, Nick's input and poetic responses to conversations really shine through and his character is a highlight in what is a standout expansion to the main game. Number 4. The Last of Us, Ellie. On the surface, Ellie is just a kid growing up in a very messed up world. However, the character goes much deeper than that as she represents hope for humankind against the cordyceps virus and, at least according to the Fireflies, will serve an important role in the survival of the entire species. Naughty Dog masterfully crafted a character that managed to chip away at the bleakness and hopelessness of The Last of Us's setting and story. Witnessing Ellie gaze in childlike wonder at a family of giraffes or get excited about finding another issue of her favorite comic book contrasts perfectly with the grave story that this game tells. Over the course of this narrative, Ellie not only gives protagonist Joel hope and moments of happiness, but she also gives that to the player. Besides being a complex character within the narrative, Ellie is also a handy companion in combat. She will look to grab enemies where possible, giving Joel a free hit, as well as give the player ammo when needed. Naughty Dog explained that they wanted to create a companion that wasn't a burden and would not be blamed by players if something went wrong, and you know what? They surely succeeded with that. Number 3. Mass Effect 2 Thane. Now, Thane is very much the quintessential anti-hero, a deadly spiritualistic assassin with a conscience that is living on borrowed time due to a terminal disease. One of the standout characters from a series that has produced so many of them, the Drell hitman has an incredible aptitude for violence and killing, yet is incredibly self-aware, often bemoaning his past actions and even going so far as to display genuine remorse. He agrees to join Commander Shepard's gang of misfits on their suicide mission against the Collectors in the hopes that he will find redemption for his past final mission. Throughout the time that Thane is part of the Normandy's crew, he will slowly open up to the player before seeking his help in reconciling with his son, who is now also on a dark path of his own despite his father's attempts to steer him away. Beneath the surface, Thane is a highly complex character, showing surprising levels of emotion that belie the assassin tropes that are often displayed in video games. He is a refreshing take on the gun-for-hire character that we've seen so often in the medium and therefore is a standout character in Mass Effect. Number 2. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Gaunter O'Dim. The world of The Witcher contains a plethora of complex characters that would all be worthy of an entry on this list. However, none are quite as complex and memorable as the antagonist from the Hearts of Stone expansion, Gaunter O'Dim. The so-called Master Mirror is first encountered right at the beginning of the game in White Orchard, and something seems off right from the start, although you'll need to wait to find out what that is, as this is the last that you'll see of him until the Hearts of Stone DLC. Described as evil incarnate, O'Dim is an ominous being who will grant individuals' wishes in exchange for their soul. Much like the devil is known to do in folklore, leading fan theorists to speculate that O'Dim is indeed the devil. His motivations are unclear, only adding to his mystique, although you can be sure that these motivations are rather sinister. If that's not creepy enough for you, then it's been noticed that in various cutscenes throughout the expansion's story, O'Dim can be spotted in disguise as other characters in the background, which is rather spooky indeed. And number 1, Disco Elysium, Kim Kitsuragi. Thrust in as protagonist Harry Dubois' partner as they attempt to solve a mysterious murder, Lieutenant Kim emerges as one of the best sidekicks in all of gaming by the time all is said and done on Disco Elysium's stellar story. In a game world where every character is impeccably written and has more layers than an onion, it speaks volumes that your calm and professional sidekick is the standout of the bunch. Lieutenant Kim starts the game cold and stoic, but as your investigation goes on, he opens up and displays some moments of genuine emotion and compassion. His steadfast professionalism and judgmental nature are also more than just character traits, as it becomes more of a gameplay feature as you find yourself basing your decisions on whether or not it will disappoint your rather lovable partner. Kim is an incredibly rich character that is more than just a virtual voice of reason. He loves speed metal, although will never admit it, and abhors pinball despite being a former pinball champion. Hats off to the developers here for crafting one of the most human characters in all of gaming. And there we go, my friends. Those are the 10 most complex NPCs in video games. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as any other options or choices that you think I may have missed from this list, as I'd love to cover more in a future video. But if you want to chat to me further in the meantime, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope you're treating yourself with love and respect, my friend, because you deserve all of the best things in life, like love, happiness, and success. And do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, alright? We're all rather complex human beings, and all of us deserve to be kind to ourselves, alright? So big love to you, my friend. Now go out there and smash your life goals today. I believe in you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.